everybody, it's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, January 27th, 2019. All week I've been asking myself, what and who does Mia Rosales really want? Because 1 minute she is seducing Arturo, talking about their almost spiritual connection. And then the next minute, she is proposing to Ray, planning a re-wedding ceremony to him, and acting as if Ray is the only man on the planet. So which is it? What does she want? She has everyone on a string. She is playing both of those guys like a fiddle. But all it is going to take is one of those little strings to pop off, and that fiddle is going to go flat real quick. Arturo was about to tell Ray this week what Mia was up to, what they had done, or almost done, when Mia flipped it all around, popped the question, and asked Ray to marry her again. And Ray and Arturo had just made up after a long time, after years of feuding. They had just made amends, hugged it out. Arturo was not gonna then turn around and tell Ray that his wife is a black widow. I find her so incredibly entertaining, though. I really am into Mia. I mean, inviting Sharon to the wedding ceremony, bragging to Abby about the fact that Arturo fixed her furnace. And by the way, speaking of furnaces, mine is still running this week. We have sub-zero temperatures here. I normally would turn off the furnace for Y&R Chat time so that there's not a low rumbling hum under the recording, but I cannot do that right now, so please forgive any furnace noises you might hear. I will try to edit them out. But back to Mia. Also, flirting with any guy. She flirts with all the guys. Flirting with Billy this week. I could handle a whole lot more of that, too. Truth be told, I would love to see Mia and Billy together. They would be a fiery couple. But in a way, I think she would be fiery with absolutely anyone. As for the big question of what and who Mia Rosales really wants, I think the answer is Mia is someone who wants it all. Mia wants all of the men, all of the glory, all of the glamour, and she's someone who goes at it full force to get it. Sound like anyone else we knew? The way that Mia shamelessly pressured Devon into not only giving her space at the athletic club for her wedding, but also waiving the membership requirement and also getting him to throw in free food and drinks for the ceremony. It was disgracefully impressive. It was both disgraceful and completely impressive all at once. I loved that scene, because it reinforced something that we brought up weeks and weeks ago, that Mia is filling that brash, bold character space on the show that was once occupied by Hillary. I mean, we saw it as viewers and appreciated it weeks ago, and Devon saw it and appreciated it this week. That was great. I mean, characters like this go both ways. It's a mixed bag. These types of characters, they just wield a double-edged sword, and that sword could be a weapon of beauty, or it could be a weapon of destruction. And I, for one, really look forward to seeing many more scenes with Mia in them. And specifically, I'm looking forward to the scene when all of this blows up in her face. I mean, the re-wedding ceremony went off without a hitch. Mia and Ray looked beautiful. They exchanged beautiful vows. All of the guests were there looking beautiful. It was just a small ceremony, you know, family members and Sharon. I mean, literally, it was everyone in the Rosales family, plus their date, plus Sharon, for absolutely no reason. Sharon, it was so awkward for her to be there. Why? Why would Ray even want his girlfriend at his wedding? Place your bets, Y&R chatters. This week's poll question: will Abby and Arturo make it down the aisle? Get in your 2 cents at yrchat.com. That's our poll question for the week. I hate to say it, but I do not think so. I think that Abby and Arturo's relationship is probably floating dead in the water right now as we speak. First of all, it is super rude to crash somebody else's wedding for your wedding proposal. Ray and Mia had barely said "I do," and Arturo stopped their special day to get down on one knee and propose to Abby. Rude. Really almost seemed more like he was just trying to make a statement than to make it about he and Abby. And second of all, at this point, I feel scared that Y&R is giving us lots and lots, in fact, too many of hints about Arturo's cheating ways. I don't think he's a bad guy, but it doesn't matter how sincere he is today. It doesn't matter how big and beautiful of a ring he was able to come and pay for to give to Abby. It doesn't really even matter how amazing Kyle would look in that velvet purple tuxedo that Abby would surely put him in as she becomes Bridezilla to plan the wedding of the century. I don't know that Arturo has what it takes to go the distance. How about at the beginning of the week? This is one of these little signals that I'm worried about that the writers are giving us. How about that big bouquet of flowers that Arturo lays on Abby? I think it was on Monday. It wasn't about "I love you." It was really more of an "I'm sorry, I almost kissed my sister-in-law, but you don't really know about it" gift. And I thought it was interesting that Ray made a note of those flowers. And what Ray said about those flowers was, you bought flowers for Abby, huh? It's interesting how far we've come, because buying flowers was something that our father would have done for our mother when he needed to make up for something after stepping out on her or doing something otherwise to screw up. The father would bring flowers to the mother. So Ray is noticing maybe a similarity here between his brother and his father. And that kind of adds another layer to that brotherly relationship. And it also explains further what Ray was talking about last week, that he doesn't want to be anything like his father. I think that's maybe another reason why Ray is doubling down on this relationship with Mia, even though it's so clearly built on shaky ground. Mia approaches Arturo after her wedding and after his proposal privately to make sure to tell him that she doesn't think that Abby is right for him. Mia knows how deep Arturo can love, and this is not it. Oh yes, Mia, you know how deep Arturo is capable of loving, and he's just not loving Abby deep enough. Okay. See, this of course is just Mia keeping him on a string, and I think knowing what to say to make Arturo doubt himself. Although in all reality, if Abby were right for Arturo, he would not be tempted to be kissing anybody else. So maybe Mia is right. Maybe he isn't loving Abby deep enough. I think, though, that this whole thing is going to blow up and we're going to bear beautiful witness to it. Either Mia is going to throw a big old bratty fit because Arturo is engaged and stealing her thunder. Maybe she'll even tell Abby about their almost kiss. Or I think Mia will find a way to get inside Arturo's head enough that it causes him to confess about the almost kiss or the whatever in the air that's going on between them. And either way, as that string from that fiddle starts to break, it is going to destroy Mia and Ray's relationship and Arturo and Abby's relationship in one single note. I am not mad at Phyllis for revealing this week that she never threw that fireplace poker in the lake. She kept it as an insurance policy to make sure that she was protected from anyone trying to pin JT's murder on her. But why did Phyllis fight so hard to force these 3 other women to form a pact to keep JT's accidental death a secret if she never trusted them in the first place? That's the part that doesn't make sense to me. Early in the week, Phyllis was trying to convince Sharon to join forces against the Newmans. And this was our first clue that Phyllis was not exactly on the same team as everyone else. Phyllis was on her own team. Phyllis tells Sharon, hey, what is stopping Nikki and Victoria from just trying to pin JT's murder on one of us? Now that Victor is back in the picture, he's probably going to pressure them to do something like that. And Sharon, while she agrees that she doesn't trust Victor, doesn't exactly trust Phyllis a whole lot more. In fact, the only person she trusts less than Victor is Phyllis. And Sharon also trusts Nick to protect her. And Sharon does not hold back in letting Nick know that your girlfriend, Phyllis, thinks that your father, Victor, is guilty of this whole crime. And maybe you need to think about the fact that Phyllis has this funny way of justifying her own behavior. Why don't you think about that, Nick? I mean, Sharon knows. And she's trying to give Nick another little clue that maybe Phyllis isn't being so forthright with him. And it's also giving the audience another clue as to maybe Phyllis did pull a little bit of a fast one with this fireplace poker. All week, it was people giving Nick little seeds of doubt about Phyllis, really, because Jack then turns around, pretty much tells Nick the exact same thing about Phyllis, only more blunt. Jack actually says to Nick that Phyllis could be a potential suspect in framing Victor for murder. And even Michael has a follow-up conversation with Nick talking about his conversation with Phyllis, where Phyllis seemed extra interested in Victor's case. Gee, Nick, absolutely everyone in your life is telling you to be wary of Phyllis. And it almost made him think twice before having sex with her again. It is so ridiculous. Phyllis is so the dominant in that relationship. The way that she holds his face and is talking to him on the phone saying she wants to meet for lunch just so she can see his pretty face. It's like Phyllis wears the pants in that relationship and Nick wears the tutu. Phyllis is calling all of the shots with the pants on while Nick is spinning and twirling around the room in his little pink tutu. There's a visual for you. It's not entirely bad. I kind of like it, actually. Nick, I love him. I love him. He doesn't have any evidence against Phyllis, though, that would give him a direct reason to suspect her. And Nick only knows what Nikki has told him. So he goes back to Nikki with the information that he's been given. And he asks Nikki to think long and hard about that fireplace poker. Is there anyone else who could have had access to it? And it dawns on Nikki out of nowhere that Phyllis might actually be the one behind this fireplace poker showing up at the ranch. What if that fireplace poker was never even in the lake? What if Phyllis held on to it to later frame Victor or someone else for JT's murder? So Nikki marches over to Phyllis's office and confronts her about the whole thing. Phyllis, at first, denies, until she can't really deny it any longer. Phyllis confesses to Nikki that she did keep the fireplace poker, but that doesn't mean that she planted it at the ranch. Phyllis says, all right, fine. I kept the poker. I put it in a storage locker, which I paid cash for, so it couldn't be traced. And I did discover that the fireplace poker had been disappeared from the storage locker, but I didn't put it at the ranch. I didn't do that part of it. And personally, I believe her. I don't know about you Y&R chatters, but I believe that Phyllis took the fireplace poker. That makes sense that she would keep it as an insurance policy, but I don't see a motive for why on earth she would have planted it at the ranch. So I believe her, and if she is to be believed, then hooray huzzah! We have resolution on how the poker survived Margarita night, but we still have absolutely no idea who is taunting Nikki and framing Victor. I don't think it was Phyllis. I'm not so sure that even Nikki and Victoria think it's Phyllis, but they can't rule it out either. Nikki does then tell Victoria about what Phyllis said, brings her up to speed, and Victoria says to Nikki, we need to tell Nick. He deserves to know. He already knows pieces of the story. He deserves to know more, and specifically what Phyllis's role in this was. So Nick confronts Phyllis about it, and he's very angry. He wants to believe Phyllis. I mean, she was keeping the same lie as Nikki and Victoria in Nikki's own best interest, but Phyllis was also keeping the fireplace poker in her own interest. You know what though? I don't blame Nick for questioning her, but I don't blame Phyllis for wondering why the trust that Nick is placing in Nikki and Victoria is not extended to her. And I don't blame Phyllis for cluing Nick into the fact that there weren't just 3 people who were in on this little secret. His precious dish rag angel Sharon was in on it too. I thought, I don't know, I just was very surprised to understand where Phyllis was coming from, but I thought, hell yeah, Phyllis dragged Sharon down into it too. Why not? At this point, there's absolutely no reason to protect her, not after the confrontation that they had earlier in the week. So Phyllis does her best to defend herself, and next week, I guess, Nick is going to be confronting them both, hoping to finally get all of the pieces together to the puzzle on the part of the story that we already know, that the audience already knows. I don't really need to spend that much more time on Nick's journey finding out what happened on Margarita night. I need to know who is doing the haunting and taunting and framing of Victor. And if I don't get some answers soon, I swear to you, I feel like I'm going to explode. This storyline has been a nightmare for the characters and for the audience since Margarita night, since April. For 10 months now this has been going on, and I am at my breaking point with it. If this was the breaking point on Mal Young's time as head writer on Y&R, and we are just seeing it on screen unfolding right now, then it is justified. Totally and thoroughly justified. If you can't wrap up a single storyline in 10 months' time, it is time to move on. Well, at least Billy kind of pretended to hesitate for a few moments before blowing up the last remaining shreds of Lily's world. Ugh. The small talk that they were having in the prison visiting room before he actually got around to telling Lily that her husband is smooching around on her. It was painful. It was nothing short of painful. Lily is asking Billy, so catch me up. Tell me all of the hot gossip that's going on around Genoa City. What's the scoop? Give me the scandals going on around town. Oh, little does she know that it's her and her husband. I do not know how Billy had the heart to tell her. I don't think I could have done it. I don't think I could have done it. She just finally breaks it down and asks him to just be honest about why he's really there. He didn't just decide out of the blue to come visit her for the first time to have small talk. It's clear that he wanted to tell her something, so what is it? And so he tells her. And she thanks him for doing the right thing, and then leaves. And then disappears. I mean, we don't know as the audience what now she is going to do. I asked you guys in last week's poll question if you think that Lily and Kane's marriage will survive prison. 80% of you said no way. These two are as good as over. I am so excited to find out what exactly Lily is going to end up doing. What is she going to end up saying? Because at this point, she knows the info and she does not want to see Kane. She is not talking to him. He showed up on the heels of Billy being there, and our sassy prison guard let Kane know that visiting hours were over, and also Lily already had a visitor. Oh, what was his name? Billy Abbott. So Kane goes home, gets some sleep, gets up the next day, grabs a coffee, has a conversation with the kids, and then goes right over to the Abbott mansion to punch Billy in the nose. Oh, that was good. I enjoyed it. But I will say, Billy did argue in his defense at a couple different points throughout the week that Lily is a class act. Lily didn't deserve any of this. She deserves better at least than a husband who's kissing around on her. And Billy says, I'm not the one that caused this. Victoria and Kane caused this. So if anybody's mad at me for blowing up this secret, don't waste your energy. This isn't my fault. I'm just the messenger. And to a point, I think that's fair. But at the same time, I also don't think that Billy told Lily to defend her honor. I think that he told Lily so that he could get revenge on Kane for kissing him's woman. In addition to the cold, hard punch that Kane gave Billy, Kane also issued a little bit of a threat, letting Billy know that he was going to regret what he just did. And I kind of hope that that threat comes true. The Billy and Kane feud could be really, really great to continue to watch, and I don't know why, but I wouldn't mind continuing to see Kane spiral out a bit further. It would at least be interesting. But we haven't got that yet. Right now we still have Kane trying to keep it together. He goes to Victoria to let her know what Billy just did. Tells her that Billy just told Lily about their secret. And that conversation between them was so interesting because it wasn't the let's berate Billy fest that I was expecting. Kane and Victoria had this tone between them of choosing to accept responsibility for what they had done and to talk through why it could have happened, where they both are in their lives that would have contributed to this. And they both acknowledged or seemed to agree that what happened between them wasn't sexual, it was physical. As if they were both guys, maybe they would have just punched each other, but since they're men and women, they decided to kiss instead. I don't know. I can't relate to that. It sounds like what they're saying is it's sex without being sexual. And I mean, I know it wasn't actual sex, but it just sounds like denial, doesn't it? I mean, they were being very mature about the whole thing, but there was also, to me, I thought, are you guys in denial about this though? Everything else about the conversation was so absolutely rational. They both said, we're just in this place in our lives where we're both independently trying to carry this enormous pressure, and sometimes it's just easier to give up and screw up to self-fulfill the prophecy. The other conversation around this, which was really, really powerful, I thought, was Sharon and Victoria. Victoria actually opened up and told Sharon what had happened with Kane and what she was feeling about Billy. And Victoria just really was honest, saying about how scared she is to become involved with anyone, because getting back involved with JT Hellstrom was the biggest mistake of her life. It dragged everyone else in her world down. And she never wants to make another mistake like that again. In a way, she doesn't trust herself now. And that idea that sprung from that conversation really helped put the Kane thing into context for me. That Victoria, from her angle, was kissing around with Kane to screw things up with Billy, just to self-fulfill the prophecy. And Sharon just totally got it. I totally got it, but I was so impressed that Sharon totally got it. And she was so wonderful in counseling Victoria through it, saying, I want you to know that I understand where you're coming from, and I'm going to give you my perspective. You are coming out of a situation, Victoria, where you were with a man who didn't value you. And so it makes sense that you stopped valuing yourself. But don't let yourself believe that you don't deserve to be happy now, because you do. In actuality, you do. You cannot be afraid to reach out for the good things in your life that can happen, whether that's Billy or not Billy. You can't be afraid to reach out for happiness just because you're afraid of the bad things that can happen too. Maybe I needed to hear that this week or something, but it was just so sage. When did Sharon become so wise? I love it. Sharon getting her college degree really did her well. She was phenomenal. It was therapeutic without being therapy. I feel like that conversation was more healing than all of the therapy sessions Victoria has ever had. And at the same time that Sharon was talking to Victoria, Billy was talking to Phyllis. And isn't it funny, you guys, how Billy was real quick to point out that he is not to blame for what Lily is going through now. And yet he really wanted to place blame on Phyllis for telling Victoria that Billy wanted to get back together with Phyllis, and how Phyllis started the ripple effect that forced Victoria and Kane to kiss. No. No, I am happy to blame Phyllis for the things she's directly responsible for, but Phyllis was not responsible for Kane and Victoria's kiss. That scene really did have one great, pure magic moment though, and it was Phyllis's reaction to learning that Victoria kissed Kane, and she was taken aback at first, and then she checked herself and said, well, I guess he is kind of hot in a rough and rowdy kind of way. I'll say I vote for more rough and rowdy Kane, and I love that Phyllis kind of saw that. I mean, I know that that is not how Devon and Neil feel right now. If I was in Lily's family, I would not be voting for more rough and rowdy Kane. I mean, the scowls and the looks and the disapproval that Neil and Devon were giving Kane this week, I understand how they feel entirely, but as a viewer, rough and rowdy Australian cowboy Kane sounds so much more preferable somehow to the nice but lonely guy Kane that we're getting right now. Luther Devondros is no fool. Oh no. Luther Devondros said this week, nobody works me. I sometimes let people think that they're working me, but nobody works me. Devon traces the LLC that he is making this mystery songwriter's check payable to, and he does a little research, a little digging, and realizes that Anna's name is on the company. And Devon confronts her and threatens to pull Fenn's song if she doesn't come clean about who this mysterious writer is. So she does. And honestly, Anna's revelation was so completely relatable. She started writing songs on the side, and she started selling them anonymously just to make money, because she ended up getting herself into some pretty hefty credit card debt. She was embarrassed about it, and Devon had already paid for most of her college tuition, so she didn't want to tell him that she had then gotten herself into credit card debt, and so that's it. That's the whole reason why she was keeping this thing a secret. That's why she didn't want to tell Devon. I mean, it's such a relatable problem, and it's a great storyline concept to tell, a modern story to tell. A lot of people have credit card debt, and not a lot of people have Newman Abbott finances to pay it off. I just wish that Y&R would have told us that up front. I just wish I would have known all along that the reason Anna was scrambling was because she had all of these bills that she needed to pay. I would have enjoyed, I think, that part of the story. It would have made Anna even more relatable. But Anna's songwriting secret was, I don't know if it was presented or if I was just assuming that it was, some type of deep, dark mystery secret that was going to connect in to something bigger that's going on the show. And all along it was just credit card debt shame. I mean, it's a little bit of a letdown. I'm glad that Devon was so understanding. I didn't want to see anything come between their brother-sister relationship, and I mean, truth be told, Devon sitting there watching Anna play her song at the end of, I think it was Thursday's show, it was so touching. And you guys may remember that I was not a fan of young Anna singing on the show every 5 minutes, but that song and that sequence with Devon looking down on her as she's playing the piano, she doesn't know she's being watched, and he's just shedding tears. It was so beautiful that I didn't even get mad at it being music. It was really lovely, and it was nice also, by the way, to see Devon's big, beautiful piano getting some use, being something there other than a set prop. Carrie turned down another lunch date with Jack, and so Jack decides he's gonna bring the lunch date to her. He brings her some flowers too. There must have been some kind of sale. Jack and Arturo hit the same corner flower stand to get flowers for their women. Only Kerry isn't at Jabot when Jack arrives. our lovely Jabot security guard, Frank, I want to believe that his name is Frank Lee, and he is related to Lugubrious. So Frank Lee tells Jack that Kerry just left the building. She's not here. Jack gets on the phone, calls Kerry. Kerry lies, tells Jack, oh, she's busy in the lab, but Jack knows that's not where she is. Instead, where Kerry actually is in her car, now making another phone call, telling someone that she's on her way. When Jack finally catches up with Kerry back at Jabot, he confronts her and says the same thing that he says before. Tells her that he is not into playing games. If she is not into him, then he just wants her to be mature enough to tell him. She doesn't need to lie to him. So this is when Kerry does what I think is a classic liar move. Unless the twist on Kerry is going to be that she's in a bunch of credit card debt, and that's what the big twist on her story is. I think that what Kerry did was a very, very clever lie. She confesses to something small because it will deflect attention away from the bigger thing that she's lying about. So she tells Jack that she did indeed lie to him. Okay, you're right, there was a lie. But it was a small lie that can easily be forgiven. She had to go to traffic court. Kerry has a bunch of traffic tickets. You know, she's always getting wrapped up in her chemistry and doing such a great job for Jabot that sometimes she has a tendency to let the little things in her life slip. Tickets, bills, lunch dates, responsibilities of life. Are you buying this, Y&R Chatters? Are you? Are we buying this? Because I don't think I'm buying this. I mean, Jack is buying this. Kerry was able to reassure him in about 5 minutes flat. But what's with the syringe? That wasn't really followed up on this week, and I don't know where to put that. Kerry can't remember to pay off her parking tickets, but she can somehow pull it together to pull this syringe thing off? Who in Genoa City might be masculine without being overpowering? Well, I think Jack Abbott might say that about himself. That was our quote from last week. Jack said it while he was describing Kerry's Jack of Hearts fragrance. It's masculine, but without being overpowering. Do you think that's a good summary of Jack? I mean, he is masculine, but he's not overpowering. That just might be a pretty good summary that Jack had of himself. A lot of people guessed that that was Jack. So congratulations to Cece, Sandra, Ambreen, Anna, Jamie, Sherry, Joanne, TBA4, Susan, T. Nicole, Nancy, Colleen, Diana, Juanita, Henry, Coral, Marianne V, Liz, and Rose. You guys all got it right. Here's a funny one for this week. I like it. I hope you caught it. I am not your pet poodle. I just like that idea. I am not your pet poodle. If you think you know who said it, by all means, go to yrchat.com, leave me your guess, and if you get it right, then I will give you your shout out on next week's Y&R Chat. It's time for comments. T. Nicole says, Y&R Chatters, I am curious to know what you think of the character of Carrie. Love her or not into her? I'm not too sure where I stand. This secret she's hiding could get interesting, but not gonna lie, she's not my favorite on the show. I haven't taken to her new character compared to Anna and Mia, who are more interesting to me. No doubt. The newer characters like Anna and Mia have been given compelling reasons to want to root for or against them. We just haven't got there with Carrie. Yeah, we just don't really have anything to sink our teeth into. We don't know anything about her backstory, and now all we're really left with is this syringe suspicion. Daisy says, I wonder if Carrie may have a drug problem and is hiding it from everyone. Carrie did pull a needle out of her purse, and unless I missed something, that has not been explained. No, it was not explained. I mean, do people do that? Is that still, are people still needle? I mean, yeah, that's harsh. If it is a drug problem, that is some scary drug habit. Superplex says, I like Carrie. I hope the mystery man she spoke to while in her car is her drug dealer, and that the mystery is that she suffers from a drug addiction due to the pressures at work. Otherwise, the alternative explanation is that the mystery man is not a man, but Ashley, and she is working to undermine Jabot from the inside. Well, I think that is a little bit preferable, maybe. I think I would rather think that Carrie is working on the inside for Ashley rather than think she is a drug addict. I mean, I don't know, that the little bag that she had her needle in was very neat. I don't know anything about, what would it be, heroin? Oh my goodness, I don't know. I just don't know anything about injecting drugs into one's self. Would she have some scars? Has Y&R shown anything? Can you guess? Do you really think it's a drug addiction? Because I mean, I just assumed, honestly, that she was going to secretly syringe Jack. My first and I guess still my predominant thought about the syringe is that she's going to in some way harm Jack. Give him some night-night juice or some crazy knockout revenge juice. I mean, again, I thought maybe she was Patty reincarnated or something. I don't know. Drugs did not occur to me, but it is certainly a possibility. You just never know with this writer, really. Let's switch some gears here, something a little bit funny. Leslie says, it's funny how the women on the show wear these high heels when they're at home. Most women can't wait to kick them off when they get home. I bet the actresses can't wait to kick them off when they go back to their dressing rooms. I was thinking about high heels this week too, Leslie. I think it's because I was noticing that Phyllis trumps around her house with Nick in her high heels, and I just thought, gosh, that does seem awfully uncomfortable. Not only would I not have high heels on at home, but I can't be bothered to have pants on at home. I mean, not pantsless, but like I have what I categorize, I wear jeans. I'm just a jeans girl. So I either have my jeans or I have on what I call my comfy pants. And I'm not even kidding you, the second I walk in the door, comfy pants go on. Jeans go off, comfy pants go on. If I'm at home, I need to be comfy. And that is that. Gary muses about the fact that Kyle just referred to Phyllis in passing as a sociopath. That was a funny little comment by Kyle, wasn't it? Billy was coming into the Abbott mansion complaining about Phyllis, and Kyle had this great comment about how Phyllis is just doing what every great sociopath does. She's compartmentalizing. She's able to put things about work in a box that always stays with work, and personal things in a box that always stays with personal things, and the boxes never intermingle, and that's how a sociopath is able to justify their own behavior. I wonder how Kyle knows so much about that. I mean, in reality, that was a wonderful line. I'm sure it probably does apply to Phyllis, but frankly, if compartmentalization is the test, then I think that all the people on this show are probably sociopaths. T. Nicole says, with Nick mentioning a list of past characters who would want revenge on Victor, Chelsea, Kevin Fisher, Luca, Ian Ward, does this signal that we might be getting some past characters back on the set? Oh, I loved that he did that. It's so, I'm so easily impressed. I'll speak for myself, because just the fact that Nick is sitting in his office thinking about who might have a revenge plot that they'd like to enact on Victor, and he's listing off these older characters. I loved it. It caught my attention. I'm so glad it caught yours too. I don't know if it necessarily signals anything, but it's nice just to have Y&R throw in a little nod. Here's some people from recent history who might want to do this. It's just a little bit of an Easter egg that I always appreciate when Y&R it goes meta, when it references itself. Anna says, I'm with you, Allie. I think it's going to end up being JT Hellstrom who's framing Victor in the end. Maybe they're going to have some kind of redemption story for JT. I just don't have any other thoughts. I mean, I just don't know who else it could be. JT or a JT twin. I mean, at this point, what else is everyone thinking? Who is haunting Nikki and taunting Victor? Let's get some, just throw it out there. I mean, I got nothing but to put my bet on JT because I just don't know who else really would make sense. It seems like the kind of big twist that Y&R would try to throw to wrap this whole thing up. But who else are you guys thinking are the main suspects now for haunting and taunting? You tell me. Superplex clarified something that I was asking about last week, and I'm so grateful for this. Superplex says, in answer to your question about Nikki's inconsistency in describing what happened to that fireplace poker that when she claimed that she threw it in the lake, she was talking to Nick, and if she would have admitted the truth that it was Phyllis who disposed of it, then she would have implicated Phyllis in the cover-up. Yes, I just wanted to make sure to bring that back around full circle, because last week when Nikki was talking to Nick, she said, oh, I threw the fireplace poker in the lake. And then later she was at the coffee house acknowledging that Phyllis was the one who had it. And I thought, well, why did she have those two different stories? And I didn't connect the dot that she was covering for Phyllis. So I just wanted to make sure to follow up on that so everybody else got up to speed. Thank you very much. TB84 says, the conversation between Victoria and Sharon hit me the most. I think it was really nice of Sharon to listen and support Victoria, sister to sister, but also as a counselor. It was very therapeutic. I'm glad Victoria can find a friend in Sharon. I got teary-eyed, I must admit it. They weren't that close with each other before, as far as I can remember. No, I don't think so. This is kind of new. And Gary says, I would submit that Sharon and Victoria are the new super couple. Not Victoria and Billy or Victoria and Kane. That newfound friendship and trust between Victoria and Sharon is a foundation to build a future friendship on. I agree. I really liked Victoria and Sharon. Victoria has no friends, so it's good that she has someone in Sharon that she can confide in. And I'm just remembering back that it was Sharon who gave Victoria the business card of the counselor, and it was also Sharon who brought margarita night to Victoria to try to cheer her up. So that is the extent, I think, of the interaction that those two really had being friendly. They always had more, I think, as I remember it, of an animosity between them, even when they were sister-in-laws. But yeah, I mean, it was Sharon who was trying to perk Victoria up through the JT thing when it first came up, and it's a full circle moment that Sharon was doing it again this week. Diana asks, has anyone noticed that the left side of Victoria's face looks like it's bruised and slightly swollen? It looks like she has a lot of makeup on to cover it up. I wonder what could have happened to the actress. I didn't notice that, Diana, and now I have to look on Monday. I thought I'd toss that out there in case everyone else in the world was noticing something with Victoria's face and it just somehow breezed past me. Does anybody know? Is there some behind the scenes knowledge someone can offer there? Justin weighing in on the Kane and Lily will their marriage survive poll. Justin says, will their marriage survive prison? Yes. Should their marriage survive prison? No. Kane has been one web of lies after another with Lily. He came to Genoa City pretending to be Jill's dead son. Kane pretended to be dead and haunted Lily to the point of a breakdown. When Devon and Hillary were having their affair while she was still married to Neil, Kane knew about it and covered for them. Kane sabotaged Lily's commercial that she shot for Brash and Sassy by releasing footage of Billy gambling with the hockey players, and we all know what went down with him and Juliet. If for some reason Lily can forgive Kane for what would send any other woman running far away from him, Lily will forgive Kane over him kissing Victoria. Oh, yeah, I mean, they are a very popular couple, and it is certainly possible that Y&R was afraid to break them up, and maybe they won't. Maybe she won't divorce him. I don't have a lot of faith in this whole recurring status with the actress. I think it entirely depends on how much she's going to be willing to come on the show after they get done with this prison stint. Maybe if Mal is gone, if he had anything to do with Crystal Khalil wanting to go off on recurring, and that's pure speculation. But I wonder if there is any chance that some new head honchos behind the scenes might make Crystal Khalil feel more inclined to come back to the show. And that would certainly allow for Lily and Kane's romance to continue. If not, and she decides to stay off, I think they will break them up. They just would have to. Ellen says, how does Billy have the personal funds to cover the cost of using the Jabot jet? Jabot jet? Jabot jet? I thought he was penniless after losing all his money gambling. My thoughts exactly, Ellen. Well, not about Jabot jet. That's good. Jabot jet is the right pun to make. But I was wondering when Billy got caught by Phyllis taking the Jabot jet to see Lily. He said, I don't have to answer any questions about where I took the Jabot jet. If the money's a problem, then bill me and I'll pay for it. And I was thinking, where are you getting this money? I mean, yeah, he's wealthy, but he also got himself into a $500,000 gambling debt a couple months ago. Was he able to just pay that off immediately? I don't know. Oh, let's move on to the Rosales family. Laura says, no one knows what Mia really wants. She secures the predictability of Ray while pursuing excitement with Arturo. It's so fun when Arturo says, I don't want you, and she replies, sure you do. That's a good summary of those two. Arturo keeps going, I don't want you, and she keeps going, sure you do. It is fun, I can't lie. Soapy Llama says, proposing at a wedding is just bad manners. No matter if you like the people at the wedding or not. Did they even get to seal their vows with a kiss before Arturo stole their thunder? It's just weird, especially since him having the ring ready proves that he was planning on it. He can't say it was spur of the moment from having lovey-dovey wedding feelings. Yeah, I think it was basically Ray and Mia said I do, did their kiss, and they were getting ready to like do their, that final walk down the aisle, and Arturo just interrupted it. He just hijacked it to propose to Abby. It's so inappropriate, and I mean, it's good for the drama, but it also is a little bit telling. It's almost like he didn't need it to be about him and Abby in a private moment. He needed everyone to see, Mia's so much in love with Ray, and guess what? I'm really in love with Abby too, so here's my proposal. See? Superplex says, I am so much into Mia blowing up Arturo's world because I consider him a creep. I'm getting creep vibe. Not that he's done anything, but I feel like Y&R is cluing us in to the fact that Arturo's kind of a cheater. Maybe this is just who he is. Maybe it's not that he has some amazing love story with Mia. Maybe he is just getting around. Wasn't it fun, though, to hear Arturo giving his speech and talking to Ray about how Ray used to get around and Ray used to be a little bit of a playboy, but he settled down, and Arturo maybe hasn't done that yet. I don't think putting a ring on Abby's finger is going to change who he is fundamentally, and at the end of the day, he's still drawn to other women. And I'm not saying, I mean, you know, you don't just getting married or being committed in a relationship doesn't mean you just don't see other people, but he damn sure let himself get pretty close to kissing other people, and that tells me he is not ready for marriage with Abby, and that tells me they will not make it down the aisle. But I'm also interested to hear what you guys have to say, if you think Arturo and Abby can and will make it. Shelly says, I love Mia, and I need more. I love the way she goes head to head with Sharon, Abby, or even Arturo, and then flashes her beautiful smile as she accepts the insults she's so eagerly pried out of whomever she's battling with. We, as the audience, have been able to witness her vulnerability, yet at the same time, when she is with others, she exudes such believable confidence. The balance is perfect. I love the writing for her character, and her demeanor when she delivers her lines is spot on. She hurls these little insults without seeming like a bitch. How is that possible? If she sticks around, I can't wait for her to branch out from the Rosales clan and insert herself right into the heart of Genoa City and play with way more of the elite men in town. Nick, Billy, Kane, Devon. Yes, Shelly, that's a very good, well-written comment. I love your points. I really love Mia too. I love the writing for her too. She is giving us a pretty good balance of good and bad all at the same time. And I do always like when the actress does something bad, like the character does something bad, and then the final scene of it is the actress laughing. Like she does, she's naughty, but she also doesn't take it too seriously. Mia's just fun to watch. I mean, is she a great person that I'd want to hang out with? No, I would not be caught anywhere near this tornado of terror in reality, but dang is she good to watch. Jamie says, Mia is one of those characters we can love to hate. She is so stinking devious. That move she pulled with proposing to Ray was one crazy piece of work. The look on Ray and Arturo's faces said it all. One was blissful and the other was disgust. I think Mia's drug of choice is causing drama so that all eyes are on her. Yes, Mia wants attention. That's what she wants more than anything. It was so clever the way Arturo was about ready to bust up their little secret and confess to Ray, and ooh, she just grabbed it and swept it and turned it into a proposal, didn't she? I mean, was she planning that, or did she come up with it off the cuff? It was a thing of crazy beauty, I think. Shakona says, the reference that Devon made about Hillary when speaking to Mia regarding her pushy ways, it proves that she is going to be one of those characters that we love to watch. Yes. I think Mia is one of the best things that we've had on this show recently. I personally think. I know there's lots of people that don't like her. I mean, it's tough. Like I said, it is a double-edged sword. It can be great and it can be tough to swallow. Laura says, I like how Devon calls people out. He said to Mia something about picking up all the names that she had dropped. Usually the spicy characters like Phyllis call people out and the sweethearted characters do not. Devon will call BS but maintain kindness and respect for the other person. Forthright kindness. It's a unique combination of traits. Oh, that is a wonderful comment, Laura. Yes, I know. I really enjoyed that scene so much. I was engaged. I loved to watch Mia think that she was working Devon, and I loved that Devon he appreciated what was happening. He has an appreciation for this type of person specifically, and the fact that Y&R gave us that scene and connected it and let him acknowledge that he knows someone like Mia. I think that was just, it was a thing of beauty. Laura also says, wow, Neil, in my world, shut up, said like that, packs more meaning than a swear word. Yes, I know. Neil tells Kane to shut up this week. And yeah, I know. There was something about that was very powerful, and I agree. In my world too, I don't usually say shut up. It's just, I don't know, it doesn't really occur to me. But yeah, it is one of those things where it's just, because I think because it's so dismissive of the other person, it just shuts them down immediately. It's just you don't get to talk anymore. It's no longer a conversation. You're just shutting them down because whatever they've done is so bad that you can't even hear it. I think that Neil has been a pretty reasonable character throughout his time. I think Neil has made a whole lot of concessions for Kane, and specifically in Kane being a husband to his daughter. And for Neil to just shut it down like that was definitely very dramatic. Oh, and here's a fun note to end on. Liz says, I was doing the vocabulary quiz inside of this month's Reader's Digest and was asked to define lugubrious. Does it mean A, chatty, B, mournful, or C, disgusted? Well, Leslie says, thanks to Y&R and Allie, I knew that the correct answer was B, mournful. So shout out to Allie for making us all a little smarter. Whoever said TV rots the brain was not watching Y&R. Yay! That is my word of the year, I think, lugubrious. Thank you so much for telling me that. You see, guys, like, Y&R isn't rotting our brains. Look at us. We are learning something together. This is just making us smarter. Lugubrious, lugubrious, lugubrious. Okay, everybody, that takes me to the end of the line, but it's just the beginning of the line for you. Go to yrchat.com, leave me your comments about the show, about the chat, vote in the poll, do all the fun stuff. I love hearing from you. And I'll be back again next week to give you all of my thoughts about the show. So, come back next Sunday. I love you, and I'll see you then. Bye.